Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview, in our special segment, Life and Times with HT. She changed the face of Indian television, but to reach where she has today was clearly a journey of sweat and blood. There were rejections, there was failure, and often a dead end. But then there was also a resolve to carry on and not throw in the towel. When will she had asked the gods in Tirupati, be able to earn 1 lakh a day, unquote. She did much better, and today the zeros keep adding. She is none other than Ekta Kapoor, the K girl, that one letter of the alphabet which has, for her, worked like magic. Shy, reticent, and an introvert, it is difficult to draw out Ekta Kapoor, the goddess of Indian television, so to speak. Yet, she is here with us on our talk show, The Interview, in our special segment, Life and Times with HT. Welcome to the show, Ekta, and I'm going to use only your first name.
You should, ma'am. I don't think you should use anything else but my first name.
And thank you for being here with us.
My pleasure to be here, ma'am.
Let me begin with time has come full circle from Tulsi back to Tulsi, and from being pushed around then to late night slots. You're still at a late night slot. So tell me about the journey.
So Star Plus came and met me at a coffee shop in Bandra to actually request me not to take the 10:30 slot, but to take an 8:30, 9 o'clock slot, because they said by the sheer virtue of timing, there are a lot more audiences. Anupama's coming at the fag end of prime time, and it does really, really well. But post 10:30, there's a dramatic shift of audience. They just fall. So please do not come at the 10:30 slot. I was like, but I'm not back with Kyonki to suddenly compete on the TRP race. Now, wouldn't you want your bigger audiences base to see the show? I said, I cater to a certain type of audience, the 27th city. And the 27th city, primarily the 5 cities, the metros, they are more comfortable with later evening slots. So we were very targeted to a certain universe. The idea of doing something with a Kyonki cannot happen at 8 and 9. It is the 10:30 slot. It was always meant to be the last show you end your daily soap sojourn of the day with. So I just felt it was, first of all, it wasn't like what will Kyonki do now? Is it coming back to compete with regular shows? No. Is it back for showing that, oh, we make great content? No. We had a certain amount of episodes that were that we would finish to complete 2000. We just ended one of the most landmark shows of Indian television because of a fight with Star. And then Star and I We have had the best relationship recently. And I almost felt like we need to like do something which is so interesting with the last few episodes which would take us to that magical number of 2000.
So, two things. It's not the same story that earlier you wanted a prime time slot and you were pushed to 10:30, and now you were probably spoiled for choice, but you chose 10:30.
Absolutely. And what a fantastic relationship has been in the last 2 weeks with Star. They were like, but we want to give it the most respectful re-entry possible. And I was like, please let's not make this, let's not squeeze the authenticity of the show for ratings. Let's do it like a impact-based show.
You said you are not back for TRPs.
Why would I want to like ever compete at 20 TRP? It's an impossible task. The audiences today remember Tulsi, but if you ask a normal person what is the story of Kyonki, it's impossible to remember because it's 25 years. Today we don't remember what happened 5 months ago. So, I mean, and if I'm anything, I'm self-aware. So, I was like, this is not, if I'm doing it for TRPs, then this is not going to be going anywhere where I wanted to. So it's like 100% lost battle. What am I doing it for? Okay, there is an audience that doesn't see content anymore on television. They are the urban mass, not the masses, not the total niche that watch the OTT apps. I wanted to cater to them, and that's it. And bring back memories, create some interesting conversations on what topics we're discussing, and just do those mini episodes. And I know everyone says, what is impact? Impact is, it's everything.
Impact is Ekta Kapoor.
I think I've thoroughly enjoyed impact in my life because it's like this. It's not Ekta Kapoor. It is characters. And if I and you go out there and tell anyone anything, they'll listen to it this much. But if you build, forget Tulsi, if Anupama or any character who's today currently doing very well, the girl from Odne Ki Asha, if they go out there and they live a journey, and through that journey, you have a certain shift in the way you perceive a situation, that is impact. Because hearing anyone, however important the person is, it can never matter the way you living a journey of a favorite character and then changing the way you think about certain situations or finding strength from that. That is pure impact and that only a character can give.
Is that one of the reasons why, and let's come to Smriti Irani, why she is being made or projected as the face and you tend to remain in the background, which you've always done?
Ma'am, I'm always behind the scenes, always in anything I've done. And be it television, be it films, I like that place where I'm very happy. And she is the face of the show. This is being in the background as a creator is beautiful. Seeing her flourish is so lovely to just see someone you've known as a young girl go out there.
Someone who you launched,
seen as a child, young girl going and achieving so much. And I'm pretty very comfortable doing interviews. I find it, I'm stressed 2 hours before and I feel a huge sense of relief the moment it's over.
You spoke about the fight with Star TV.
Yes.
And now a beautiful relationship with them. And I want to ask you, fight, patch up, good relationships has not only happened with Star TV.
With everyone.
With many.
With many.
Even with Smriti.
With
one actor who we will not name, but you said should really shut up. So why this? Is it?
I mean, if you're saying about Ram, I've not fought with him. I have not fought with him. And I'm saying it for the first time. I don't know why everyone thinks I've fought with him. I never made a video on him. I was talking about my weight issues. It was nothing to do with him, and I have no idea.
He was, I think, talking about the one of the objectionable scenes in the serial.
I mean, he was talking about an intimate moment, and I had a huge issue with just this, that intimate moment was the coming of age of television. Unfortunately, we referred to it as a kissing scene. I mean, everyone at that time was like, you're creating content and you're going to be doing the same thing that everyone does, show two flowers. They're a happily married couple, consensually happily married, mature couple. And if you see the kiss, it's not even a smooch, it's a beautiful moment where he pecks her lips. We've made such a hullabaloo about an aesthetically done kiss between two adults on television. When you do something like this, you are pushing the envelope. And pushing an envelope is what we need to do. We can't always fit in. Risk taking is a very important aspect of content. Having the ability to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and some people might just not like it. I still remember that was my status when the show and when this kiss went on air. I said, finally, TV comes of age. And what I was also saying that if people, he was saying about how it got trashed and people didn't watch it, and I had to pay the price for it. There was no price. You pay for conviction.
From Tulsi to the relaunch of Tulsi, why and how, and what was the motivation? Was it getting up one fine morning and saying, I want to redo Tulsi?
When we were stumbling upon this character, she's a homemaker, very, very proud homemaker. She's grappling with weight issues, some inherent self-worth issues, having her own journey with a very doting husband, but the world looking at how she's aged and how he's aged very differently. We're dealing with things that probably we don't want to just talk about. We want to show you what happens. So we are now dealing with in the show about, should you pull back of a marriage if you feel that the situation your daughter is getting into is bad, or should you just continue with it because people know she's getting married? So I want to deal with these kind of things. And these are not just about marriage. It's about how much shame we put on women. Be it a young girl, oh, शादी टूट गई तो इसकी शादी फिर से क्यों नहीं होगी? It's such a painful truth, but it's the truth. People put it on the girl, and how sometimes you have to just support her, saying, if it's not feeling right, don't do it, even if it's one day before. Because it's not about the marriage day, it's about what happens later. These kind of things.
You know, there is nearly a 3-decade time lag. And Tulsi or Smriti Irani now also has a baggage, if I may use the term, a political baggage. Does that work as an advantage in this relaunch?
I don't see her as Smriti Irani ever. On screen, she's Tulsi for me. I mean, she can do what she wants in her personal life. When she comes on screen, if she transforms into Tulsi, Tulsi has her baggage. She doesn't have Smriti's baggage. She lives her life, her traumas, her wins, her failures, not Smriti's.
But her being a politician and one who's again a very familiar face in politics, will that add to the show? Will that help? Will that be an advantage or a deterrent?
None. Like I said, for a lot of people, once the character comes alive, the actor almost seamlessly merges with the character, and people will forget who. It may take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but it's natural. That's where the real impact lies. When I'm talking about impact, that when you see a character and you're going with their journey, subconsciously you forget them as people. You see them as a character.
But was the comeback more about the Tulsi relaunch? Was the comeback more ki, oh, Smriti Irani hai, Smriti Irani the politician? Was it any of that?
Ma'am, this was not just a show, it was an emotion for all of us. even Smriti, even me, our lives changed with it. To actually put back the most nostalgic landmark show under the grind of Indian television once more was only because we felt that those few episodes that are left should be completed. The impact that this character has, let's test what else she can do today. Let's see if we can incubate it from the rating system and create a story untold and bring back an original viewer that has left television. And that's all.
Where do you get your risk taking abilities?
I am.
Where does that come from?
My mother would want to answer, have an answer to that question. She's so done with me. She is so done with me. She's like, I can't believe every time I think it's some controversy on all, then there's some controversy on. Something is, when are you going to calm down a bit?
Have you calmed down?
I mean, I think I'm calm, but I'm like, I can't do things for optics. We've become so obsessed with being accepted. I'm actually quite excited about not fitting in. I like taking a risk. For me, that's the only way I will feel personally satisfied.
But where do you get that from?
I have no idea. It's just there in me. I just know that I was just telling Smriti, I said, we have serious thrill issues to bring back Kyonki again and put ourselves through this, of putting ourselves in the grind of creating everyday episodes 7 days a week. She's like, seriously? I said, we seriously have thrill issues. We should just calm down a bit.
While on controversies, like your mother says, when will you stop? How's it that you walk into controversies?
I think I'm walking on landmines. I should be a little boxed in, but I'm not. So I realize that more than anything else, could be some kind of malfunction in my head. But I mean, I don't know. But I think it's got to do with the fact that I just feel, I feel like we operate on too much on optics, how we look, how things look, what becomes pedigree for us. Everyone wants to see this extremely sanitized version of you. You have to be woke and you have to be attached to something, or you have to be radically obsessed with something. And if you are, then you can't be this. If you're a conservative, hardcore temple going girl, then you should start having a problem with anyone who talks about sex. Then you're going to make a sexual piece of content. Then people have a problem. Oh shit, but you go to temples. I mean, everyone wants to put you in a box. And unfortunately, you can have an ideology that can at points meet with someone else's, but a lot of points you can think differently.
Talking of sexual content or controversial content, you've always been under attack. Recently, even when you got your Padma Shri, people wrote and said, no, she doesn't deserve it. How do you handle all this? And why this overdose, if I may use the term, of, say, controversial content and more than that, sex?
There were 3 shows that had sexual content and there were 73 shows that didn't. It's very easy to think that because there were trolls, I would like back down. I didn't. Only back down because of my mom. She was so angry. She was like, please, I don't want my name on any content which is like this. I've lived my life differently. I'm like, Mom, you cannot create history if you fit in. Stand by what and don't fall in love with the pedestal. The pedestal is for you. They take the same pedestal, break it down and throw stones at you. I said, I'm like, just forget what people are saying. She was like, okay, do what you want. I'm like, hoping someday some female producer creates sexual content. I feel like that's the only way you can normalize sex and absolutely target and pull down sexual crime. The intention was never to create only adult content.
You're unmarried, so how come you did Saas Bahu serials? And in fact, when you did them, you were much younger. So where did all this come from?
Everything doesn't have to happen to you. You look at people, I'm like, every time I see people have a problem with they live with their father's side of family, but they're closer to the mother side of family. Every woman has a problem with her mother-in-law. You're seeing it everywhere. So you're like, why is it happening? Oh, because guess what? This girl's new. She's come here. She's been told that your only connection to this house is through this human being who's the man. He is there and not there. The woman who's running the house now has been told that, you know what, a new person will come in your territory. Naturally, that only happens in offices. From a father, the business goes to the son, he gives up his office. Or if tomorrow somebody takes your chair in your job, you're not going to love them, but we expect this of women. New woman is coming from today, these people are your parents. This is your husband, this is your family. Huh? How? And the woman's been told this girl will come and from today she's gonna take over. Huh? How? So that came as an idea like, hello, this is a problem.
Tell me about Amma.
Amma is no more. She went in 16 years ago. I mean, 16th of August, she left us. She was living with me for a long time, you know. From the time I was about 2 weeks old, she stayed in my house right till I was 27 when she went. 2002 August, and she looked exactly like Ba. Must be some past life connection or whatever it was. She was like my grandmom for me. She was everything.
As a kid, you were obsessed with food.
There is no as a kid, ma'am. There is me. My happy place is food. As we are aging, the little food also is not allowed because you get like fatter. I mean, if you ask me, a piece of chocolate, like a big bar of chocolate, I know it's really healthy. Sugar causes many illnesses. I know that. But if you ask me what psychologically, what sugar does to most people, oh, I love sugar.
From those throwing those chocolate wrappers at the back of your bed when your mother wouldn't see it. Have
Those
you
were the easier
outgrown?
days, ma'am, when we had to hide chocolates from our parents. Because guess what? We learned closet eating because my mom would be like, you're getting unhealthily fat. So she would find me and find those chocolate wrappers behind my bed. Now we look at the chocolate and we indulge in it, and our own guilt conscience comes and bites us the next day. Because guess what? This is the most toxic food in the world, sugar. And that's the only food I love.
From when I met you several years ago, you didn't care about how you looked. And as you said, you were just, unconventional. From there to being a very gracious, elegant lady now, how and why did that transformation
I don't
happen?
think I've transformed that much, ma'am.
You have transformed a great deal from what I met you.
I think it's
Is
I think it's
is
couple
it
of
the
interviews
Bollywood?
here there. No. I'm actually very different. I'm all yet trolled for what I wear, and I don't get a damn because I'm like, hello, I'm in my comfort first. I don't carry clothes easily or well. Like there's some people who wear something and they look great in it. I have all sorts of pockets of fat, so I don't carry many clothes well, and the cameras are nice to me. I think I look better on real life than on camera. So all these issues aside, I personally feel I'm in fact more comfortable with my skin now. I haven't transformed into a gracious lady. I've transformed into a far bigger sloth. I am very happy in the way I am now. I just don't want to be unhealthy. That's why I've given up the sugar, but otherwise I'm fine.
Yes, but now you do take care of, I don't know if you do take care, but then someone takes care of the way you look, the way you dress, and you come across as very elegant, which was not as I saw you then.
That's a compliment. I'd like to stick with that then.
Take me through that Tirupati prayer when you asked God, when will I earn 1 lakh a day?
Oh wow. So I was sitting in this small restaurant called Mayura. It's in up and down Tirupati. Tirumala and Tirupati pay both this small restaurant is it. Now it's grown to a much bigger place. I was sitting with my uncle and my dad, and I was like, Nidhar uncle, how much do these guys earn? This restaurant. From beginning, I was wanting to know what everyone earns. So he's like, 1 lakh rupees a day. I was like, serious? They make 1 lakh rupees a day? God, when will I make 1 lakh rupees a day? not gonna happen only, I think. And I went inside the temple, and then I went down, and then I met the great Kalanidhi Maran, and he saw me, and of course, Rajnikant had got my interview, but he said, you're very young, and I can give you a slot, but non-prime time, because we have to give slots to our people also. I said, no problem. We took a non-prime time slot and we made a show there called Kudambam, which became the number one show at 10:30 at that time. And on that show, I made 1 lakh rupees a day.
And from there to the zeros not stopping now.
No, I've had ups and downs, ma'am. I've had
Yes.
years of made a lot of money, then had no money for a few years, then back again. But that's like a game.
What would you now ask God for?
Oh, my list just keeps increasing.
And you told your mother, who else will I ask if I don't ask God? When she said, Bhagwan se mangte nahi hai, jaake shukriya ada karte hai. And you said, but who else will I ask? So your list, of course, will increase.
It is much bigger. I think I ask him every day for something new. I hope not to confuse him but anymore.
We'll leave it at that. Do you still celebrate your birthday in Tirupati like you
Yes.
always did?
I turned 50 this year. And everyone was like, at least this year. I said, we will go out of town. We'll go to Spain. We'll go with the kids. But not on my birthday. On my birthday, I want to be alone in front of the Almighty. Look at Him. Because He brought me on this earth. And He's who I want to share that lone time on my birthday with.
Do you take your son along now?
Actually, it's very crowded. So I won't be able to handle my son in Tirupati, but I'm planning to do a mundan of his in Tirupati soon.
At another level, where did the superstition, and you have been superstitious, whether it is the K thing or the number 9, where did all this come from? How and why? Were there any instances in life that led to this?
So I have my own set of beliefs. For a lot of people, that is superstition. For me, that is my own belief. There have been instances where my superstition has come true, some where it hasn't. So, like that way, if you're a non-believer, you don't really believe in superstitions. And I believe in so many things which other people don't. And so, like a lot of people would like to label any kind of belief as superstition. And that's great. Am I religious? Yes. Am I spiritual? Yes. I don't have to be either or. I can be both. Do I like to go to temples? I do feel that there's energy, and I do feel that energy is very strong. I do feel numerology and astrology are a unknown science, and those who know that science can go back on their lives and see. We will, if we do not want to believe it, it can scream at our faces, but we won't. I can tell you that these are the bad years for our country or for the world, and those months turn out to be like this. I don't need an incident for me to be a believer of the biggest. If anyone can tell me where we go after death and why no one has been able to revive a dead person if we were just machines, I will stop believing in what I believe in, that there is a superpower.
Does your mother still use the lal mirch ka totka, like she told me, to ward off the evil eye? And she always said, usko nazar badi jaldi lagti hai.
Mother takes out everyone's nazar. That's every mother in Bombay or India. When getting out of the house, take out your nazar. Mother, father, brother, kids, सबकी नजर मम्मी उतारती है और उतारने को बोलती है. So none of us can leave the house without taking out our nazar. It's like now set in my son, my nephew, my brother, my mom, my dad, and mom insists that we can't leave the house without it.
Do you do that for your son as a mother?
So my mom does it, so I don't have to.
Lessons learned in life and unlearned.
Lessons learned is like, man, anything that you can plan, do it. But don't expect it to happen, because nothing I have ever planned or I thought that this is the next stage of my life ever turned out that way. Oh man, I was like always in surprise. I unlearned the fact that I always thought there's no difference between being brash and being brave. I unlearned that fact. Being brash is very different from being brave.
As a kid, you were very possessive about your father.
Oh, very.
And once you nearly hit a lady who was snuggling up to him.
Yeah, matlab in airport she came. I couldn't see my dad sign an autograph or take a picture with anyone. It used to give me trauma. Could not stand and talk to anyone, not even his own mother. He could only talk to my mother. That was the boundary he was under. I don't know what was it. I could not. My dad could only be talking to me, and I was terribly possessive about him.
How much of that have you outgrown?
I'm very possessive in life, but not with my dad anymore.
Okay. You know, the moments in life you would like to forget, and those which you have or which you would want to treasure.
I mean, I would love to forget the fact that I lost a mom. This would be the main one. But if I had to remember anything, I think it would be my younger days. I think I'm
Wild days.
wild young days, age. We pay a big price for experience and maturity, and it's youth. Youth is beautiful.
On being a mother, tell me a little about motherhood and your son.
See, ma'am, if you know me, my mom at one point was like, she doesn't know which left turn I would take and come with what and shock her. So, yeah, here when I said, I think she was the one, she says, would you want to have a child? She save your eggs. I said, I've already decided. I've saved my eggs. They're like, she would be like, what? And I'm like, yeah, but when I want to, I'll have my kid. And I had it after 8 years. Of course, I did try once or twice before and I didn't. But when I had my son, I was very clear that I was ready to bring another person because I work all the time. I was clear that I want this person in my life, this child. And to do it without getting married, my brother did it, I did it. So many friends have done it. Now I know a lot, just 4 people, girls in my office have done it. So I'm very happy at it because there is a world out there that is stopping people either by surrogacy or by adoption. You don't have to follow societal norms so strictly. I mean, we're not living Xerox copy lives, are we? Everyone has to get married 24, 26 have a kid, 35 put your child is going to college, 45 planning your retirement, 55, 60 retiring. Why is everyone's life same and God has made us all different?
What has motherhood done to you? What has it brought to your life?
Responsibility
I thought so.
and guilt. Mother guilt is a real thing. If I'm here, I'm like guilty about leaving my son. If I'm with my son, I'm guilty about leaving my work. If I'm somewhere, it's just everywhere you're guilty. You're like guilty about everything. If you take a holiday alone without your child, you're guilty. And you know you're responsible for another life. So for the first time, I think in my life, I've been able to, and I have put another human being before my work. Otherwise, it used to be only my work, me, almost like a nomad living my life in my dreams, like a storyteller or a content creator. Now, there is another human being who shares my life with me.
And you're thoroughly enjoying it?
I would be lying to say I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I am enjoying it and I'm thoroughly learning how to cope also.
Okay. Finally, how would you describe yourself? The goddess of Indian television, someone who dares, one who's talented, or someone who's plain lucky?
The slave to my dreams. I'm neither too lucky, nor am I a goddess of television, nor am I a path breaker, trailblazer. I'm just like, I have this funny feeling in my tummy when I want to say something or make something and I have to make it happen. So I'm a slave to my dreams. I'm slave to my instincts, slave to my calling.
Ekta, thank you very much for your time. I know you don't give interviews and mine has been long, but thank you very much.
My
And
pleasure,
thank
ma'am.
you for your time.
It's been my pleasure, ma'am.
And for talking so frankly. In fact, I always felt, and which was true also a few years ago, you were half a sentence person. But now the transformation is that you now talk.
Lovely. That's hope it's amongst all the other transformations. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.